Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are new here, my name is Donna, and for those of you not new, thank you so much for continuing to come back to my channel and support me and love on me. I really super appreciate every single one of you for clicking on my video. I know that you don't have to, so it warms my heart so very, very much that you do. Today I'm doing my next installment in my Palette Roulette series. For those of you unfamiliar, my Palette Roulette series is a series that was inspired by Dani. Her channel name is Danibo. She does a palette a week series in which she picks palettes via an app that she uses for a week. Sometimes it's 2 weeks or whatever for her. And then at the end of that week, she chooses whether or not this palette is a palette that she wants to keep in her collection. For me, it's more of just a usage kind of series. I just want to get use out of my palettes. I did put up a palette collection video not that long ago. I'll go ahead and put it up here in the cards. For those of you who are interested, I have so many palettes, and in those palettes there are so many that I have purchased and haven't even used yet. And when I was going through the process of looking at all the palettes in my collection and thinking about a palette collection video series and then thinking about the palettes within my collection, I thought I really need to do something with my palettes that gives me usage of my palettes. And my friend Lisa watches my videos pretty regularly and heard me say something of that sort in I think a haul video of mine, and she was like, you should check out Dani from Danibo. Go check out her channel. She does this amazing series, and she does. It's called a Palette a Week, or Palette a Week P.A.W. she calls it, and she does an amazing job with it. And so I took inspiration from her, and I am using an app as well to choose my palettes weekly, and then I do use the palettes. I will post pictures throughout this video of my usage of the palette and then give you my thoughts on the palette and how I feel about the palette. So far, I have actually decided to declutter one of the palettes that I have used, and that was just last week's palette. It was a horrible palette. I will go ahead and link that video also up in the cards for those of you who are interested. My whole Palette Roulette series will be linked down in my description box, as well as all the information on Dani and her channel and her Palette a Week series for you guys that are interested in watching those videos. So last week my app chose the Juvia's Place Tribe palette, and I have never been so excited about using a palette in my life. One of my favorite formulas is the Juvia's Place formula, and it doesn't matter if it's a matte or a shimmer. I love their shadows. Their shadows are amazing, and their palettes are super inexpensive. Recently, within the last year, they started selling at Ulta as well, which is my favorite place to shop because of the point system. If you guys are unfamiliar with the point system, let me know. I can do a whole video on their point system. I have done so many hauls that I've gotten for free because of their point system. This palette was not on Ulta though, and I wanted it so bad, and it came out in, I think, December. It was part of my January haul. I am technically on a low buy right now. It might have been part of my February haul. No, it was my January haul. Right? I cannot remember. Anyways, it's a fairly new palette in my collection. I had only used it once when I pulled it for my Palette Roulette series, and it is an all green palette. This is what the palette looks like inside, and I know that it doesn't look like all, well, it's not all green. Let's get real. There are 2 oranges in there in this kind of like bronzy shade, but this shade, as white as it looks, is actually a green shade. It is on my lid today. This shade is, it looks yellow in the viewfinder, but it's actually a really lime green shade, and this one looks brown in the viewfinder, but it's actually a very beautiful olive. It is also in my eye look today. I did use all 3 of these colors in my eye look and these 2 colors in my eye look today. I also used this orange in my lower lash line. I love this palette. One thing about Juvia's Place is their artwork is just stunning. Every single one of their palettes has this beautiful artwork on it. And then you open it up and it has more artwork on the inside. The palettes are just beautiful. The pan sizes are huge. This is 0.3 to 0.4 grams. Wait. This is this is 1.14 ounces of product, or 32.4 grams of product. 32. Really? Wow, that's a lot. I mean, it's a lot of product, a lot more product than I would think. It is 9 pans. There's a lot of product in this palette. What I will say is these are not the easiest palettes to depot. So if you're into depotting, these are not the easiest ones to depot, but the artwork on them is so beautiful. I don't know. It pains me every time I watch a depotting video with Juvia's Play Shadows. One thing I would like to note is that they don't have mirrors. None of their palettes have mirrors. I feel like to some extent that is how they keep the price as low as it is on their palettes. I think full price this palette is $20, and then you can 9 times out of 10 find a sale on Juvia's Place. They are constantly doing sales. You can purchase your palettes for a less expensive price than that, and they are quality shadows. They are really good. So let's talk about the swatches that I have for you. I do have all of them swatched on this one hand. I will go ahead and zoom in so you guys might see pieces of my face I don't want you to see because I've noticed that that happens when I zoom in. But these are the swatches. So I am going to hold the palette up here so that I can try and read these shades as I am showing you. They are like very hard to say. I'm not sure what these are. I'm not sure how to say most of these, so I will probably butcher them, and I am so apologetic for that fact. But this bright yellow up here is called Maasai. I think it's Maasai. It is a really pretty lime green shade. It is just a beautiful, like currently today I've got it in my brow bone. I've also got it in my inner corner. It just gives a nice bright pop of color. It is a matte shade, and I typically don't use mattes in my brow bone or my inner corner, but I find that this one works really well. This one here is Oromo. It's O-R-O-M-O. It is a really pretty, just light orange color. I do have it on my lower lash line today, mixed in with the darker green in the palette. This one here is Tutsi. It's T-U-T-S-I. I think that that is a beautiful, like, yellow-green shade. It mixes really well. These 3 shades here mix so beautifully together. This shade here is called Koro. It's K-O-R-O. It is a really pretty, like, lime-esque green, like, shimmer shade. It is on my lid today, and I just find it to be beautiful. I have also got it, like, stacked into my brow bone, and I used it as a brow bone shade a lot over the last week. The next one here is... this one. It is called Chaga. C-H-A-G-A. It is a nice, like, orange bronzy color. I used it in a couple eye looks. I loved it. This one here is Kuba, K-U-B-A. It is the only shadow in the palette that I had fallout issues with. Both times I used it today. Actually, 3 times I used it. I used it today and 2 other times, and all of those times I did find I could feel it dropping onto my cheeks. Today I ended up actually having to wipe the makeup off of my under eye and then go back in and do it again because I did my base first, which is silly sometimes when you're using darker colors and a formula that I know is going to fall out. I typically won't do my base makeup first, but I did today. I forgot about it, and I actually had to go back in and redo my under eye makeup because of that shade. I'm not saying I hate it because of that. It is a beautiful dark green shade, and it does have the ability to transform any eye look. I know I used it in another eye look that I did for some videos that I had go up, I think earlier this week, or no, this is Monday, earlier last week, that really kind of made the outer eye portion that I put it into look like more of a deeper like brown color, which I really enjoyed, but it is the only shade that I actually had quite a bit of fallout with. It is also the only shade in here that I feel is like kind of got some texture in the swatch. So like when you rub your finger into most of these, they are just super buttery and super pigmented. This one is super pigmented right off the bat, but it is also very not as creamy or buttery as the other ones are. This shade right here is Ashanti. I used to know a kid named Ashanti. I kind of dig that name. It is ASHANTI, and it is a really pretty olive green color. Again, it is in my eye look today. It is this upper crease color right here, and I just love it. I thought it paired well with every single color in this palette and looked amazing. And I will never forget, I believe it was Samantha Ravindall saying there's no such thing as a good olive. And I really love this olive color. It kind of can be brown. It kind of can sway orange. It can sway green. It just depends on what colors you put with it. And it goes with every single color in this palette really, really well. The next color is this orange down here, and it is called Kurla. Kurla. This one was a little bit tricky for me because it looks very much like it's going to be a shimmer on your finger. It very much looks like a shimmer. I believe it to be more of a satin though, because it definitely performs like a matte with a little bit of a glaziness to it. So I don't know if you guys can see that in the swatches, but I believe it to be more of a satin, which I've not really known Juvia's place for. They do shimmers, they do mattes, and there's hardly ever any in between with them. But there has been a handful of shadows within the palettes that I own that I am really feeling like the satin vibe from it. The last one here is called San, S-A-N, and it is a really beautiful, just emerald, maybe not emerald, but a really beautiful dark green, like forest green color. I do have it in my crease today, I'm trying to look at the mirror. I do have it in my crease today. I'm darkening up the crease, just giving it a little bit more depth. It goes really well underneath this dark green color just to help it stick a little bit better, or be a little bit more green if you want it to be green. I really love it, and this bright green color up here and this like chartreuse color up here in an eye look. It looked amazing. I think that's an eye look though that I did not get a picture of. So speaking of pictures, I'm going to scooch over here so I can put my pictures in here. Truth be told, I had an enormous amount of fun with this palette this week. It is one that I can't see leaving my collection anytime soon. Like I said, greens are my favorite color. This is probably right now my favorite palette to play with if I just want to do makeup playtime. The only one, like I said, that I had trouble with was this guy here, and it wasn't really trouble as much as it was fallout, and I don't typically have a whole lot of fallout with the Juvia's Place formula. The other thing I like about Juvia's Place is because their pan size is so big, you can use these as other portions of your face. So like I used this as a highlight one day when I had like this halo eye, and then went in with the same color that I put into the spotlight portion of my halo eye as my highlight, and it just kind of curved around into my brow bone, and it looked amazing. There should be a picture up here somewhere of that. I can't say enough about this palette. I think that it is amazing. I do, like I said, love the Juvia's Place formula no matter what kind of shadow it is, be it a matte or a shimmer, and now this, you know, Curla shade with this like kind of satiny feel to it. But their mattes are truly matte typically, and their shimmers are just stunning typically. I did not have any problems using them without a primer. I know that for these videos I will go in some days with a primer, some days without a primer, and I will do different kinds of things with them. I didn't have any trouble using them without a primer. They stuck to my lids as long as they did with a primer without one. I also did not have to do a cut crease to make my eye look like I had a cut crease. I didn't have to go in with a concealer and lay that down prior to doing it. I did with my halo eye, I did use a concealer underneath that spotlight in the center, but I know that I have also used them without going in with concealer first, and it looks very reminiscent of a cut crease. I think today's is kind of along those lines with the half or 3/4 cut crease look, and I didn't use a concealer with it. I didn't use a primer today at all either. And the fact that these shadows are super inexpensive. They have so many palettes out there ranging from completely neutral, I have a hair on me, completely neutral to crazy color scheme, and they're just all so amazing. Juvia's Place is where it's at. It's how I feel about it. So with that being said, and hopefully all the pictures are done now, with that being said, I am going to pick my new palette. When I pick a new palette, I use an app called the Decide Now app, and it is on the Android Play Store when you are trying to find an app. But with that being said, Danny, I believe, has an iPhone and uses just the same kind of app that she found in the App Store on her iPhone. It's just basically a Wheel of Fortune app that you can get from any app store, and you put all of your palettes into it or whatever it is that you're wanting your app to choose for you, and then you spin the wheel. So once you figure out what you want to put into this, whether it be your eyeshadow palettes or your single eyeshadows or maybe your blushes, you name the wheel. My name is Palette a Week inspired by Danibo. I have every single one of my palettes in this wheel, and then you just spin it, and it spins for your new palette. Nope, I've already used that. It pulled the Crown Fuego palette. I probably should go in and take out the palettes that we've already used. So I am going to go ahead and spin this again. This week it chose another Juvia's Place. It chose the Juvia's Place Saharan 2 palette. Know that you guys can't see that fine print, but I don't own the Saharan one, so it's got to be the Saharan 2. That is another palette that is not necessarily new, but kind of new to me. I'm excited for another Juvia's Place palette, if I have to be honest with you. I'm gonna go get that palette and we'll talk about it in just one second. All right, guys. This is the Juvia's Place Saharan 2. It is a little more like neutral than the other one was. It does have a couple pops of blue, but I'm excited to use this week, and hopefully we'll have some just as wonderful, candid, great review for you of this palette next week. I hope that you guys liked this video enough that you're considering subscribing and hitting that bell so that you get notified when I upload it next week so that you can hear about this palette. And I hope that you guys liked me enough that you're considering, or this video enough that you're considering giving it a big thumbs up. It really does help our channels out here. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. I hope that you have a wonderful week and that you're enjoying your Monday so far. And until next time, guys, bye.